Welcome to the fourth tutorial of BeeGraphy. In this tutorial, we are going to look at the configurator mode and exporting. Configurator mode is something very unique in BeeGraphy that allows people from non-scripting background to be able to configure your model. So whatever model you create, whatever script you create, the people can control it, can configure it without knowing the scripting. And then we'll also look at how to export the outcome of your model. But before we go into the configurator mode, I'm going to tell you a bit about number sliders, how to show and hide geometries, and also how to set up your script so that when we go into configurator mode, it works as expected. And then we'll also look at exporting. So open up beegraphy.com, log in, open up your editor. And so this is a file. We are not interested in the model right now. We are just gonna explore things like the range input and also the configurator mode. So let's say you have some geometry, let's say a torus, which looks like a donut, and you can control the whole radius. You can control it by just hovering your mouse over here and then clicking it and then changing the number, or simply typing in the number you want. That's the radius of the donut, and then this is the thickness of the donut that you can control. So we know how to control this. We know scripting, we know this, how these components work. But when we go to the configurator mode, so on the top right, click on this small arrow that is facing down. Here you will see two things, configurator and demo. Click on configurator. A new tab will open up which will show whatever geometries you've created. And on the right hand side, right now it's a blank rectangle, but this is where some sliders, some range input should have popped up that would allow the people to configure your model. But right now there is nothing. This is because in our model, in our script, we do not have any range input. Range input, as you know, looks like this. You type in range input, you get a range input from 0 to 10 with an accuracy of 0.1. And then you can put that in, let's say, pipe radius, and then control it. And now if I go to my configurator mode, you can simply also go to the configurator mode by clicking on this icon. Again, the window pops up, and now on the right hand side we can see range input and then a slider that is configuring your geometry. But if we are presenting this to a person from a non-scripting background, the person would also like some more information. So for example, if there is a bit of a complex geometry that you have and there are several range inputs, which range input controls what parameter of your geometry should also be mentioned, right? So let's work that out. If I go back to my original script, you can simply go here and double click on range input and then type in um, whatever you like, torus radius, or let's say thickness in this case. And then there is another number slider for hole radius. Let's type in torus hole radius. All right, and then you can control it. Also, right now, if I'm moving the slider, the hole radius is not changing. That is because the live calculation is turned off. In the bottom left, if you click on the settings icon, just toggle on the live calculation. And now if you change the slider, this also changes. All right. Let's see our configurator mode, what has happened there. Now, yeah, you can see in the bottom the message has appeared. Your data is outdated. Kindly refresh the page. So let's refresh it and see what happens. You see that on the right hand side, we have got torus radii and torus thickness that has popped up. You can zoom in, zoom out, pan, rotate, whatever you like. And then you can change these things and it will also change. All right. Let's click on this icon. There is an edit icon. Here you can hide certain range input. Like for example, if you have a building and you don't want the person or the user to change the thickness of the slab, but that range input is also appearing, you can simply turn it off from here and then go back and then see that the range input has disappeared. So from this part you can change, you can rename those number sliders, these range inputs, and you can rename them from here also. Both ways it works. Now one more thing is, let's say we want the people to be able to control this radius from 5 to 15 and not from 0, which will become non-existent or a bit glitchy like this. So let's say we want it to be 5 to 15 and the thickness also should not be from 0 but from, let's say, 3.5 to 8, some random numbers. Then what to do? Because there would be chances where the geometry might break and the file might crash if the user puts in some wrong numbers, some numbers that require too much computation, right? Let us change the minimum and maximum this range input can go from and to. So we'll start from 5 to 15 and then close it. So I simply did this bottom arrow key on the range input and then changed the min max, and I left the step as 0.1. Step is simply the accuracy. So now the minimum is 5, maximum is 15. Simply for here, similarly for here, it will be 3.5 and 8 was what we decided. So when we start moving the slider, it gets refreshed and then you can see the minimum as 3.5 and maximum as 8. Now the user will be able to control this. Now a few shortcuts. Let's say you want a range input from 5 to 15 without doing all of this hassle. So just type in 5 less than 15 and then press enter and you'll get a range input in integers from 5 to 15. The less than sign is simply shift and then press comma. So it's above that. But you can see that this one has an accuracy of 1. So the numbers are jumping from 12 to 13. What if we want in decimals? So we'll have to go here and then just change the step to 0.1. 0.1 and then now the accuracy is 0.1. Also another shortcut, if the numbers are huge, like we are going from 0 to 2000 and we want to select a specific number 1300, so if we use the same logic, I'm going to create this and then I'm going to double tap here and then 1300 enter to get that number, right? Another way would be simply to 0 less than, type in the number you want to be in and then again less than, and then this will be the max. So observe this, 0 is the minimum value, 1300 is the value that you would want to be on, and then 2000 is the value that will be the max. As soon as you press enter, this is what you get. So you don't have to double click here and then type in 1300. and then continue your operation. You can simply type it, press enter, and you get it. One more thing for accuracy, instead of going down and then changing the accuracy in this step 0.1, you can simply do this: 0 less than 1300.0, if that's the accuracy you want. If you want more than that, then 0.00. Okay, less than 2000. Oh, it's not working. Wait, 1300.0 and then range input, and this will give you the accuracy that you want. But okay, so this is useful. Let's say when you're creating a room and you've got several items in it, and you want the user to not exceed certain dimensions and not go below certain dimensions, the length and breadth. You can set these range inputs in such a manner that the slider does not go beyond, let's say, 5 meters, and it cannot go less than 3.5 meters. So your entire script and model will work and be intact. Okay, so perfect. In this case, we've got our two range input, and we've also seen how to create range inputs quickly. Next, we are going to look at export. So when we put export in our command line, we get all of these exporters. Let's just put in STL exporter and see what is up with it. In this node, it is asking for a geometry. There is no output, it's just an input. So the idea is you put in a new geometry, and you can put multiple geometries inside it. And then what you're going to do is click on your file name, this arrow, and you will see there is a rename and then there is export. If you click on export, this will pop up. And right now the export option is only one, which is STL exporter. And then there is quality that you can select, and then you can simply click on download and the file will be downloaded. You see this is in .stl format, medium quality, your file name. This has appeared only after we have created this component, STL exporter component, and we have connected torus to geometry. Similarly, if you want a DXF file, DXF exporter, you can do this. And now if I go here and click on export, I've got two options. One is STL exporter and a DXF exporter. If I download that, I'll get a DXF file. Simple as that. But always remember to connect them to the intended geometry, as many geometry as you want. Same thing goes with the configurator mode. When you go to the configurator mode, you will see this download option has popped up now, right? So the person can change the file, configure your model, and then click on download, and instantly the DXF file has been downloaded. But if he or she wants the STL file, or they can go here in the bottom right and then go to the STL exporter, apply and download, and now the STL file has been downloaded, .stl. So let us look at our old file from the previous tutorial, the twisting tower part B, when we created the surfaces, how that would look in the configurator mode. This is our entire file. As I told you, a person from a non-scripting background would find it a bit difficult to understand which range input should he or she change to change certain parameter, to configure a certain parameter of your twisting tower. And even if you know scripting, but if the script is a bit complicated and much bigger than this one, then it will be very difficult for you to navigate and search for which number slider to change the angle of rotation. Even for me, even though I have created the script, I need to um, search a bit to find out which range input would change the angle of rotation. So to compile all of these range inputs in one place so that you can configure this entire geometry quickly is what configurator mode um, helpful for. So I have set it up already. I've got these range inputs named number of floors, angle of rotation, floor height. Now the problem is I haven't given the ranges correctly. So I have allowed the user to go for a floor height of 2 meters, which is very small. It should be from 3 to, let's say, 5, so that they do not accidentally reduce it too much. So let me search for floor height. Here we are going to configure it and put it 3 to, let's say, 5.5. That's it. Awesome. So now it won't go beyond 5.5 and less than that. Similarly, you can adjust all of your range inputs accordingly. Secondly, you can also see that certain geometries are hidden. You see with this hatch, these geometries are hidden, because if you don't hide them, then they will pop up in the configurator mode as well. Even such range inputs are hidden. This is the slab thickness. No, this is the balcony wall thickness, and we don't want that to be configurable by the users. It is not useful. So I have simply hidden this range input. If I unhide it, okay, so if you right click, hide it, and then you click on this eye icon, it gets unhidden. You go back to configurator mode, you will see a new range input, this one, that controls the thickness of our balcony. See, this has increased in thickness. Put it back to 0.3. This is not something that is useful for the user. That is why I simply just hidden it. What is the other way to hide this thing? You go here on the top right and then click on this. Go back, and that is not here now. So there are two ways to hide the same thing. You simply hide it from here, or you hide it from here. See? And you can rename things from here as well, like we've seen before. And in this case, there is no export. So what we are going to do is type in export, STL exporter, throw all these geometry in, press shift. And now either you can export it from here, or if you are using this configurator mode for others, they can download it by simply clicking this download button. And an STL file has been downloaded. Let's just drag and drop and see if we can. Oh, nice. So the STL file has been created. It won't come with the material, of course, it's just the geometry. So you can change the file as you like, and then download to get that option. So that's how fast this iterative process can be done. And it's very user friendly also. Doesn't it take too much time? Pretty fast. This requires some adjustments, one-time adjustments, and then you're good to go. Also, one more thing is that you can rename this exporter. So for example, if you want to export these geometries separately, right, balcony, slab, and then the building skin, so you want the building skin to be exported separately, you can double click here and rename this to anything you like. Let's say building skin export, and this one is slab export, and this one will be balcony. What's going to happen is you will see that you'll be able to select what you want to export. You go here, you can see different exp, balcony export, building skin export, slab export. So if I do building skin export and apply and download, I'll only get the building skin. You see that building skin has appeared in this itself. So yeah, you can rename this and then go to configurator mode and go to this bottom right settings and then change whatever specific STL file, specific part of your model you want to download. So that's all for the configurator mode and exporter, and also a bit about the range inputs. Hope this was very useful. See you in the next tutorial.